Hey, what's going on, my people? How's everybody doing? Welcome to the fun house. Who do we got in here today? My man Sheik Kebab, what's up? Christopher from Virginia, what's going on? Guys, let me know where y'all from. And if anybody is here for the first time, let me know that too. That'll be a big help. Sergio, weren't you already in here this morning? Yeah, good to see you again. Good, Sean from West Virginia, awesome. My man Dylan, how you doing? Drew, what's going on? Dan Carlson from the Minnesota. Isagani, the Philippines, awesome. Hey, Sergio, where in Colombia are you from, by the way? Yeah, I spent a lot of time in the Cartagena. A lot of time, if you know what I mean. Brijesh, my Indian brother. Brian B., how are you? Oh, yeah. Cool. Ireland, cool. All right, so we got people from all over the place. Ahmed, hello, my friend. Awesome. So, guys, let's get started. We've got a lot of stuff to do, and you guys are going to have a really fun time because this is a webinar where we're going to have a little fun. We're going to talk a little bit about stocks, but I'm going to show you a couple things that you can take down and use right now, into the stock market. So it's going to be really fun. I know some of you guys are new. Some of you guys have been trading for a long time. That's all great. We love people from all over the place. I will answer any questions at the end. I know some of you guys are a little degenerate, little question answers. No, I'm just kidding. Guys, it throws the whole flow off, so I always answer the questions at the end, unless I see something that, would be pertaining to the current slide that we're at. So, if it's actually about something we're talking about, I'll make sure to do it. Otherwise, I will stay as long as you guys need to make sure that all questions are answered. And we come out of here today with having gotten something done, which is understanding how to trade a couple of my favorite day trading setups. Okay, so when I say learn my secret recipe to trading stocks, my intern / coworker, he's been upgraded from intern Josh, makes very, very cool names for these things. And the reason he makes this is because when I talk about trading, I'm always talking about the recipe to trading, meaning that in trading, there's all different types of trading, right? You have traders like Warren Buffett, they're investors, right? You have other hedge fund managers. Well, we're primarily short-term day traders, right? We're going to be holding stocks anywhere from a few minutes to multiple weeks or longer. We're primarily short-term, get the money now traders. So every different type of trader has their own style. So for this particular style, there's a handful of things that we must do to actually get good at it. And so that's where the recipe comes in. To be able to successfully day trade and do short-term trading, we have to have a list of ingredients in place, and we've got to put them all together in the right order. We're going to work on that today. And if you can do it, poof, you got yourself some bread pudding or something even better. So what we're going to be doing today is going to be really, really fun. So for those of you guys that don't know me and you've just seen me on Instagram or Facebook, I'm one of those people, most people, they look better, right, in their pictures, and then you see them in their real life and you're like, oof. I'm like the complete opposite. I'm like an 8.5 in the pictures, but real life, right? It's all man over here. So I'm the guy that you see. You guys follow me on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, all of that stuff. I am a professional trader. I'm a keyboard warrior. And I've been day trading my whole adult life, but only part of it successfully. I've gone through all the ups and downs. I started in college, like probably many of you, and I had very small amounts of capital. I had big city dreams. I had big city dreams and boats and hoes on my mind. Starting off trading when you're 18, 19 years old, you're thinking, man, by the time I'm 20, I'm going to have myself a big boat. I'm going to have myself some girls, because obviously if you're a keyboard warrior, you're not getting too many girls. I'm going to have myself a Lamborghini. I'm going to do all of this stuff. And obviously all my hopes and dreams and whatever I put together at that young age fell down to the wayside because I didn't really know what I was doing, as most people do. This was in the dot-com age. From there, I trade every different type of trading you can think of. I've read any trading book you could think of, Trading in the Zone, Trading Trends, Warren Buffett books, Ben Graham books, anything you can think of, I've read it. And all that books and all of that knowledge did nothing for me. If anybody is trying to learn right now, you've been hopping on webinars, right? Reading a couple books, checking out people's YouTubes, right? You're kind of doing all that, and you're taking all these bits and pieces together. It becomes very hard to learn how to trade. And the reason is, like, this is what happened to me. I read hundreds of trading books, went on all these blogs, talked to all these people. So it's very hard to retain things, right? And when I was reading all these books and doing all this study, I take a little bit from one piece of knowledge, then I take a little bit from something else, a little bit from something else. And so you know what I had? And we all have buddies like this, right? I had this big pot of knowledge in my brain. I knew all sorts of just random crap about trading, but I couldn't make any money because all those pieces of knowledge didn't really fit together in a system. They didn't have any rhyme or reason. It's just I took a little bit here so I could spot off some quotes. I can do a little bit here. I can do a little bit here. But I didn't have the nitty gritty. What is it that you do when you wake up? What software do you use? What scans do you run? How do you actually enter a stock? How do you exit it? Right? All the nitty gritty, you don't find those in books or on people's YouTubes. And so in the end, none of that worked. But when I was in my mid-20s, I met a nice Indian man. Us Indian men always stick together. His name is Paul Singh. I don't know why he called himself Paul, but he works for us now. And Paul, I met him on a blog, and he took me under his wing. And I showed him all the stuff I was doing. And he said, man, you sure know a lot about stocks. And I go, I know a lot about trading, Paul. He said, Rob, you know a lot about stocks, but you don't know anything about trading. I said, what? He goes, because trading is trading is a rule-based system that governs everything that you do. And so you know exactly what to do and when, and you have a recipe for each thing. You have a list of steps that you need to take to figure out what software you're going to use and when, how you're going to enter, how you're going to exit, right? There's rules that govern your behavior. Very, very important, right? So I didn't have that recipe. I just had random bits of knowledge. But when I got that from my mentor, all of a sudden, right, the doors of my brain opened up and I started to have some aha moments that were just amazing. Okay, so I had some aha moments that were really, really amazing. And that's when I started this business. And 10 years ago, seems like a long time, right? And I've been just cruising around all over since then. I've spoken all over the world about trading. I'm going to Japan in a couple weeks, spoke in London, all over the country about really what my life's passion is. And I'm going to show you a couple things today that you're really going to dig. Guys, stick around to the end. I got a couple contests going. Okay, a couple contests going. We're going to be giving away one boot camp at the end of this class. One boot camp to one student at the end of this class. My guy Josh is on the webinar, and he will be picking out of all the students one person to do it. Now, I do mind you, there are 1,300 people that have registered, let me see, that have registered for these webinars over the last couple days. So, yeah, don't get your hopes up. I do want to give one away. On the other side of things, I've got a couple other giveaways from some just cool-ass hats. I've got intro courses for some of you guys that are new, that are 8 to 10 hours long, that will knock your socks off. I'll be giving away a few of those. You guys are in for a treat. I'll do that at the end. My boy Josh will come up with the names, and we'll announce them. Guys, that 60-day boot camp that I give away, by the way, that's our flagship. It's a 60-day class with lifetime access to class. So you can retake it as many times as you want. Why do you have to do that? You can do the recordings as many times as you want. This 60-day class, anybody know why something would even be 60 days? Why would something be 60 days? That sounds like a lot of time, right? Why would anything be 60 days? That's crazy. Well, the reason it's called a 60-day class, and I used to have a 16-day, I first started 8-day boot camp. Then we had a 16-day boot camp. It took a long time to figure out the formula, how long it really takes to learn this stuff. But when you think about trading, you can't learn trading from books. You can't learn trading from watching somebody's videos. You can't learn from some streaming classes. All right? You can't learn from any of that stuff because it is a job, right? You guys all have jobs. Some of you guys have jobs. Trading is a job. So when you think about trading, think of it as a job. It is no different than learning to be a doctor or a lawyer. Imagine those people. How much schooling did they go through? Then how much practice did they do before they ever actually go out into the field and they're doing what they do? Very little, right? And so trading is no different. Trading is no different. It is a job. It's a profession. It's my profession. And so to learn it, we have to have that same type of curriculum. But what we got to do is take something that's really long and shorten it and simplify it. And so it takes us a couple months, but by the end, anybody that is brand new and doesn't even know anything about trading, we set them up from the beginning. How you look at the software, what is a candle, all this stuff, what are your indicators? And then I step every single class, we build upon it. By that last class, we're doing some Jedi type shit, right? You're going from not knowing anything to all of a sudden, we're doing some Jedi stuff. So that's why it's 60 days, because it's a job. Any high pressure job, think about a high pressure, big money job, right? What's a high pressure, big money job? Well, that's trading. So a high pressure, big money job, it's going to take a little bit of work. Now, the cool thing is, you know, even though it always sounds like rocket science and all that fun stuff, it's not. It's not. Trading is really simple in the end once you get down your recipes and you have certain formulas for stuff. Okay? So today we're going to talk about a few things. Number one, scanning. Scanning is using software or websites to find trading opportunities. There are 8,000 stocks and ETFs in the market. So how do we take all that 8,000 and give ourselves enough stocks to watch so that we can go out the next day and trade? So we run scans, just really, really simple scans or algos, you could call them, using different software. 2, come up with a handful of names for us to hunt for the next day. So we're going to talk a little bit about a couple simple ways to do that. One thing to remember for anybody that's new, software and scanning is like 1% of trading. You can spend all the money you want on fancy tools and fancy software. It doesn't make you a good trader, because you could have all this stuff come out of your scanner, but if you don't know what to do with it, what difference does it make? Some of my best students, I'm talking about the ones that make some real money. So like one of my students in Pittsburgh, Jake, who makes damn good money. He doesn't use any of that stuff. He comes in every day with the list of 4 or 5 stocks max. He says, I'm just going to wait till I see my pattern on that stock. He said, well, Jake, there's so many things moving around. He said, hey, I'm not trying to put $5 million behind this stock. Right? I'm trying to put 50 grand into it or 100 grand. Right? My goals are different. How many stocks do I really need to trade? Well, yeah, not that many, right? And that really works for him because he has a simplified approach. And he runs an insurance company. He's in his late 20s. He runs an insurance company, and then he trades all day while he's working. So a simplified approach really works for him. So don't worry too much about software tools and all that stuff. I'm going to give you a few that are free, and I'm going to give you a few that I use that are paid, and they'll do the trick for you. Number 2, I'm going to give you 2 trading setups that every trader needs. Very, very important, okay? These 2 patterns I use day in and day out. I use them primarily at the open at 9:30 in the morning. Number 3, simple risk management explained. So risk management is the most important thing that we do as a trader, okay? Remember that you guys have jobs, right? The money you trade with, you probably could use somewhere else. That money you work hard for. That's money you could be using for your families, for your homes, your colleges, your kids' colleges. That money's important. You sweat for that money. So we never want to lose big. We never really want to lose much. We never want to even lose enough that it's going to upset our day. So we have to use really, really good risk management. When I was new, I blew up 4 accounts, 4, and each one was more heartbreaking than the other. You know, when I would blow up accounts, this is what I would do. Lose the money, be very embarrassed. Man, I got to go in hiding. Lock myself in my room, get a couple cases of Miller Lite, call out to my mom to bring me food every couple days, and Ma! And then it'd just be, I'm in hideaway zone. That's how I handle losing. So now I know I never want to risk enough that's going to ruin my day. Because when you start going through those type of things, you're going to go. And remember, I was young. My first one was a few $1,000s. My second one was 10. The next one was about 10. And the next one was a little bit more than that. But in the end, I mean, they add up. You know, along the way, I made money and lost money and would take money out. But I've blown up 4. And each one hurts. The thing is this. Whether you blow up $1 million or you blow up $2,000, most likely you're trading with the money you have, right? So it's going to feel the same. You know, one person losing $2,000 could feel to me the same as losing $100,000 because it's the money you have. And so blown up account, we want to stay away from that. So I'm going to give you some simple but very effective risk management techniques. I'm a big believer in always managing risk. Then we're going to talk about what you need to do right now to be successful. Like, how can you get the ball rolling? You know, I've been trading my whole adult life. Like, how do you compete against that? How do you compete against the smartest people in the world with the most capital and play their game? How could we do that? Well, there is a way. See, there's edges in life. There's edges in life, right? There's edges in life. You know, some people, like in sports, there's physical edges. You could have a mental edge, or you could have a strategical edge, right? You have a good coach, or you got a good brain, you see the action. Trading is very similar. It's a game of edges. You could have an edge in experience, right? I got more experience than the next guy. I could have an edge in capital. I got more capital than everybody. How do you balance the scales of that? I've got education, capital, experience. How do you compete against that? People like that. Well, we will have an edge in strategy, a strategical edge. We'll develop an edge in work ethic. We can develop an edge in personal psychology. How do we carry ourselves and become the best that we can become and better than anybody else? And right, we need those things in the beginning to lift us, to balance the scales while our capital grows. And then you know what happened after a couple of years? Your capital grows. Well, now you got the experience, the capital, and you've got the tactical knowledge and the skills. Now you're the perfect storm, right? You're a 5-tool player, and that's huge. And then number 5, achieving peak performance as a trader. That's pretty important. How do you actually go when money's on the line or the lights are on, the stock market's open, and actually perform? I'm sure, has anybody ever seen or anybody had this in their life where they were perfectly prepared for something, and yet whatever they were prepared for was a dud? Anybody happens a lot, right? I practiced, I worked, but yet when it was time, things didn't work out the way they needed to work out. Happens in sports all the time too, right? Somebody can practice all they want, but when it's game time, they can't perform. So how do we achieve peak performance as a trader? It's going to be really, really important. How do I get my fingers to do what my brain knows it needs to do? Man, that right there is one of the most important things that we're ever going to do, because we've all done things that we know are not good, right? We've all smoked a couple too many cigarettes. We've all drank a little bit. We've all ate a little too much pizza in our lives. We know those things are bad for you, but sometimes we do them. Same thing happens in trading. Oftentimes you know, like, you shouldn't make a decision, and you do. And so achieving that peak performance is a big part of what we focus on in class. So let's get into the nitty gritty. Who are we as day traders? Okay, there are 3 different stages to the market, guys. There is the open. The open, and write all this down. The open is considered 9:30 Eastern time to 10:30. It's the first hour. The middle of the day is 10:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. So that's the longest period of the day. It's also the most boring. It's the most boring period of the day also. So that's something to keep mind of. The end of the day is power hour. The end of the day is power hour. 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. So each one of those trading stages requires different tactics. So guys, if you could give me a rundown, put in the question box, what are the patterns that you guys trade or you guys have heard about? There's all sorts of different patterns, but give me some of your favorite trading patterns. Good, good, good. Okay, we got some flags, dip buys, okay. Good. What else? VWAPs, morning stars, head and shoulders, head and boulders, overextended gap downs, good. Triangles, awesome. Flags, reversals, cool. So these are all good patterns. So each one of the patterns that you guys have actually given me, they all statistically actually have areas where they work better than others in terms of times of day. So like, for example, your quintessential flag pattern, okay? So like a lot of people trade flag patterns. So your flag pattern is like your pattern where you're coming in and you get a spike in a particular stock and then it goes sideways and then it breaks out. Well, that type of pattern it's a good pattern. Nothing wrong with that pattern. We've been trading that pattern for years and years and years. But that type of pattern works best either at the open or the close, but it very rarely works like at noon. So like that type of pattern, like anytime I've seen it and like it's like noon and you think it's going to go, it always comes back down. It always comes back down. They never work at noon. For some reason, like right around noon, you always get the dip. I've seen it so many times in my life. I buy a flag and it's noon, boom, they don't work. They work great at the open. Same type of thing. Head and shoulders patterns. Dip buys. All of these have a time and place to actually trade them. So one of the things that will happen with you guys, if you ever get in a pattern that's been failing all the time and you're like, fuck, man, I sure don't know this pattern. There may be a shot that you're actually trading it at the wrong time or the wrong market cycle. So we have stages of the day, but we also have market cycles. We have accumulation phase, distribution phase, run-up phase, run-down phase. These are different cycles in the overall market. Different cycles in the overall market predominantly will have flavors of the day. So like certain like accumulation phases have certain setups that work. Distribution phases in the market, flags never work. I mean, you will have like less than 50% shot of those flags working. So it's pretty important. So the setups are each different and we manage them different. What I focus on and what we're going to go over today is the open. The open is what I focus on, but it's also the scariest, the most rambunctious time in the market. The open is where you get price discovery. So when you look at intraday charts, and for those of you guys that don't know like what intraday charts are and stuff like that, like daily charts, intraday charts, if you just go on, I think, let me just send everybody the link. Hold on. Oh, there it is. I've got like this primer that'll get you started on charts. So if any of you guys don't have a particular knowledge of actually daily charts, intraday charts, just that you can watch this e-course, and then what'll happen is when you loop back through this webinar, it'll make like a million times more sense. Okay, so you can come in here, and I would go through that, sometime this weekend. And by the way, when you go through it, feel free to hit me up personally with any questions or anything you have on it. But this webinar will make a lot more sense once you have just the gist of like kind of how basic charts work. But for the rest of you guys, right, we know that the open, you get all the spikes. That's just always been the case. The open, you get all the spikes, the curls for the girls, we call it, okay? Now, most traders that I know don't trade the open. They don't trade the open at all because, why? And guys, did you get that link? Make sure, let me know if you got that link. Cool. Thank you, Joaquin. Thank you, Joaquin. Good. Cool. Just making sure. Okay. So the open is where you get all the random rowdy behavior. It's very hard to control. I've got a couple of buddies of mine that are professional traders. They will not trade the open. They scared. It's too wild. It's too wild. But guess what? If you do the research, 70 to 80% of a stock's move almost always happens in the first hour. So when do we want to trade? First hour. We want to trade that first hour, don't we? So that becomes really, really important to do. Okay, really important to do. So if we can make some structure using patterns and different things that we're going to learn, and we can apply it to the open. We can corral that wild beast and tame it into something that we can manage really risk-free and make profits from it. So now let's talk a little bit about these setups and how. First, we're going to go into how we find them. Then I'm going to show you how we enter and exit these bad boys, because this is my game. I primarily make 80% of my money in the first 30 minutes. And if anybody didn't get it, I'll personally email it out to you guys at the end of class, or via my email. So don't worry about it. I will never forget any of you guys. So the open is where we make the money. So let's talk about a little bit about it. So what about the open do we need to do? Like, how do we get started, right? So you're on your computer. What do? Right? It's always the question. What do I do? So first, remember what we always do. We start with scanning. I use two methods to find stocks that I trade in the morning. We do intraday scanning, so pre-market scanning. I'm going to call it, that'll be less confusing. Pre-market scanning, and then nightly scanning. So I do some nightly homework, right? So like I make a watch list. I do all that kind of fun stuff. Then in the morning at 9 a.m., I run a set, very specific scan looking for, don't worry, Robert, I'll get a hold of you. I use a very, very set, specific scan looking for stocks that have fresh news out. Do you guys know what I mean by fresh news? I'm looking for stocks that have either their earnings out that day or some type of fresh news, like a press release. Hey, we just signed 10 contracts. We just got approved by the FDA for a new drug. These are all good things, right? We beat earnings by, 1,000%. We're growing. We're fantastic. We're good people. It's amazing. They do great work, right? So we're looking for that type of thing. So I run a very, very specific scan. I'm going to show you how to do it in a second. But let me give you the parameters first, okay? So the thing I use, I scan for any stock that gaps up 3% or more with high relative volume. So I want to see at least 10,000 shares pre-market traded, if not a little bit more, depending on the market condition. Then I want to see the stock having a history of making big moves. How do you know if a stock has a history of making big moves? Anybody know? Like, how do we know if something has a history of making big moves? Well, yeah, this is the good part. Well, how we know that is by looking at its actual daily chart. We're going to look at its actual daily chart and figure out, like, does this stock have a history of making big moves? I often will look, at the different gappers and say, I take a pass on them. I'll say, you know what, this stock never moves, and I'll be like, what? It doesn't move, but it looks so good. So that's just something to keep an eye on over time. Oh, hold on. Kind of minimize these things here. So let me show you a little bit about how we find these things. Then we look at the float. The float is the number of outstanding shares that are available to be traded in the market. The number of outstanding shares that are available to be traded in the market. And Sergio, by high relative volume, I'm just pre-market. Almost all stocks trade very little. So, once they start trading, right, to show up on the scan, I want to see at least 10,000. Float, number of shares outstanding on the open market. Why is that important? Does anybody know? Think about number of shares outstanding in the open market. How could that be important? Well, imagine this. If everybody in the world wanted to buy Google at $1,000, could they? No, because that would mean there'd have to be just as many sellers at $1,000 to be able to buy, you know, for everybody to buy it. So so there's only a set amount of price in a particular area, right? There's only a set amount of price. So the less amount of float you have available shares, the less shares are circulating in the open market. So then when demand comes in, there's only a couple shares to buy. Imagine everybody wanted to move to a town and there was only 50 houses available. What would happen if you had 1,000 people that wanted, and they had to compete for 50 houses? What would happen to the price of those houses? They'd go nuts, right? Now imagine that 1,000 people wanted to move to a town and there was 5,000 houses available. Then what happens to price? Right? Nothing. Maybe it goes up a little bit. Maybe it goes down a little bit. Nothing. When there's more demand than there's actual supply, things can get exponential. So like when you're looking at a chart, right, and you see like really stocks that move, so like a stock like GE, right? This stock moves like, this looks like it had a big move today, right? It moved 30 cents. It moved 30 cents. But if you look on a graph and you see a stock like ZSAN, and it looks like it made that same type of move, it was $4, 40%. Right? A little bit crazy. The lower the float, the more range it can make. When you think about any stock that's gone on big runs, 50%, 100%, 200% over the course of weeks to months to even longer, I'm thinking, guess what? You've got to come in, and the lower the float, the more range it's got. So high float stocks just don't move. So what are some other high float stocks? Bank of America, high float stock, right? See, like when you see this, plus 7 cents, move 0.22%. That's not what we're looking for, right? We're looking for, I mean, this is an $80 stock, still moved 30% today. That's pretty good, right? We're looking for these type of things. Pixie, right, up 66%. ZSAN up 56%. MED up 30%. RGNX up 26%. So this is the float. So on your TC2000, you can add in float anywhere you want. So on your TC2000, you can have float anywhere you want. So I always come in and just add it to the toolbar, and you can add in your float. All trading softwares, you can add float in. For those of you guys that don't have any trading software yet, and you will, don't worry, you can always check on Yahoo Finance. So you can go on Yahoo Finance, but it's so annoying, right, to keep doing it. At some point, you guys will want to invest the $20, $30 a month into trading software. It's worth it. That's really the only thing that out of tools that you need. Probably spend about $30 on a really, really good charting platform. You don't really need much else. So if you go on and you type in GE, right, in Yahoo Finance, and if you go under the tab, you go to key statistics, what you will see is float here. It's 8 billion shares. Think about this, 8 billion shares. To get a stock moving that has 8 billion shares of float, it would take an act of the sweet crypto lord to really get that thing going. Somebody comes in and buys 1 billion shares, it's only 10% of the float, right? It's much harder to move. Now, some stocks like Tesla, which is still $1 billion company, Tesla has 125 million share float. So it's pretty much a low float stock. It's anything 100 million and under is considered low. So 125 is pretty much right there. It was 90 last year. So that becomes really, really important. When you go through and look at any of the top gainers of the year, even if they're big name companies, they all tend to be a little bit in lower in float. Netflix, when it went from $8 to $600, was a low float stock. Tesla was a low float stock. Priceline, Chipotle, all these stocks that went on those massive 1,000, 2,000% runs, they all were low float stocks, even though they were big name companies. So the float comes in, and it's very, very important. High float stocks means they just have less range. It doesn't mean you can't trade it. If I see an awesome setup in a higher float stock, I still will trade it. But what I just need to know is, I have to have the right expectations. See, I don't want to have the expectations like this thing's going to go up 20, 30, 50% that day if it can't. That'd be crazy, right? So we need to make sure that when we see the float, we have an understanding of really what could go down on that type of stock. So just something to kind of keep mind of as you guys are getting started. That float will really come into play. What else? Oh, yeah. I want to see clean daily charts. Clean daily charts means I want to see charts that are either breaking out to highs or lows, ideally. Breaking out of some type of pattern. So that stock market basics class I sent you, there's a handful of patterns that'll be in there. But I'm looking for a handful of patterns, but mostly it's just common sense, right? I'm looking for, see this RGNX, how can this thing run so hot today? I mean, it's not a penny stock. How can it run that much? Look at the float on this, 26 million shares. But also look at its daily chart, right? It's breaking out to highs. So when a stock is kind of getting out of a big range, that makes it explosive. So when we're running our gapper scans and we're trying to figure out which ones to trade, a big part of it is it clearing levels of resistance? Is it breaking out to highs or vice versa? Is it breaking out to lows? So that's going to be really, really important. And you can have $30, $50, $100 stocks still be really low flow. So don't even worry about that. So how do we find these? What softwares do we use to find these earnings plays? I'm going to show you on charts really how these look and what we want to do. So I use a software called Trade Ideas. Okay. Now, Trade Ideas, I primarily use it to find the gappers. There are free websites that you can do to get this, but for me, it saves, I'm okay paying $100 a month for something if it saves me 10 minutes a day. And that's essentially, right? As you get to a certain level in your trading, if it saves you time, then it's worth the price. So I have the scan ready. Up gappers, down gappers. I'm looking for anything that's moved 3% or more. And so what I want to be doing is going through my charts. So this is TC2000, okay? TC2000. It's the only charting platform I use for the last decade. It's fantastic. They're good people. It's amazing. So I'm looking through to figure out what out of the gappers is breaking out the highs or lows. And then I want to put those on my list. So what I usually do is I'll take the ticker and I'll add it to a gapper list. And Sergio, by the way, I have actually a couple students that live in Colombia, by the way. So I want to add it to my list, right? So anything that's gapping up and it's breaking out to some level of highs, it's a clean daily chart, I want to add it to my list. And so I make a specific list in my TC2000 for gappers. So you can see it's called gappers. I have stuff for swing trades. I make different watch lists for different things. Longer term investments. TC2000 is awesome because it's very modular. You can see if I wanted to add a watch list or a scan somewhere, I can take a scan and then you can move it into anywhere in here that you want. You see that? I can swap it. I can tab it. And so you can literally kind of morph it into whatever it is that you want. So I can come here, boom, I put it over there, and now I've got my scanner running, you know, a specific scan. And then I can flip around and change the scans. I can do whatever I want. And then you can have different layouts. So like I have all these different layouts. So like I use different layouts for different things, okay? And so that's going to be really, really important. You got to have a good software that's modular based that will do that. Now, for a lot of you guys that are brand new, who has no charting platform? Like you don't even know anything about charting. You have no charting platform, but you'd like to practice. Okay, Ahmed? Good? That's okay. So TC2000, Marie, my man Alonzo. Man, Alonzo's a cool name. Just makes me think of somebody that's smooth. Alonzo. Zoe. Does anybody call you Zoe? See, that's what oh man. So you can use TradingView too, Joaquin, 100%. TradingView is actually something I use. I didn't even think about that for stocks. Joaquin, you're giving me something to think about. So TC2000 has a free version of it. It's got a free version. Yeah, they got an iPhone app too, but it's got a free version. So if you go on your Internet Explorer, and it won't work on Google Chrome. Google's been a bit of a stickler for this stuff, okay? So if you go on free, I spelled it wrong. freestockcharts.com. Dun, 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 dun. What the fuck? I was just using this. Hold on here. I don't know what just happened. Hold on one sec. I was just using this website. TC2000. There we go. Whoop. Okay, so it's still up and running. I think I was typing it in wrong. So if you go on freestockcharts.com, I don't know why it didn't show up. I was spelling it wrong. Thank you, Sashi. I may be Indian, but I have never won a spelling bee. And Sean, we'll talk about brokers in a little bit. So if you go on freestockcharts.com, guys, what you will see is I'm going to just show you a couple things. Go on freestockcharts.com, click new. All right, and your charts are going to look like this, okay? And I'm going to just show you how to quickly set this up. Refer back to the video when you get a chance, you know, if it's like a little bit too confusing. But I'm going to go fast because we got a lot of stuff to talk about. So it's going to look like this. So move this this slider right here, move it down a little bit, okay? Then see like where it says here SPY 10-minute, change this to daily. So scroll down. Guys, I know I'm going fast. Don't worry, we'll regurgitate through all this. So like this is how your chart's going to look, okay? Now, I want to add in some indicators. So we're going to add in some indicators. These indicators, you guys are going to use them for a long time. So save this layout once you're on it. So add indicator. I want you to type in moving. You're going to type it in and click it 4 times. So click it, and it's going to say add moving average to. Go to price history. So it's going to show up like that. I want you to click it 4 times. Move it. Type it again. Now, one more time. Type it one more time. We're typing 4 times. All right, we're going to edit these. Don't worry. So now you got 4 different times you got moving average. Click the first one. Hit edit. Change that to 9. And then where it says simple here, average type, change this to E, exponential. All right? Now I want you to change the plot color. I always make the 9 like kind of sexy color, like a little light blue. So it permeates. All right? Now the rest of them. Click the next one, moving average. Hit edit. Change this to 20. Keep it that simple. Oh, yeah, Joaquin, I will get this to you. Don't worry. I got you, buddy. I got your back always. Now, let's change this to a little sexy color, like a little pink. Woo! I don't even know. Is that considered pink or is that more like a fuchsia? That's almost like a fuchsia, I think. It's not a purple. Definitely not a pink, but it's nice. Now, the next one, keep that at 50. We'll leave that blue. And then the next one is 200. Let's make that red. Okay. Now see, like it says December, January here. Take this slider here and slide it back so you can see at least like 6 months. You bet, Murray. 6 months of data. So go back to like August, right? So now we see about 6 months of data. See that? This is how your charts are going to look. Now we want to add in one more indicator, stochastics. And we're going to add that to the bottom. And once you click it, it's going to add to the bottom. Make this smaller. We need more screen space. Don't worry about what the stochastics do. For day trading, it's not as important. But for longer trading, I use it a lot. And I use a lot of cryptos too. It's a good one. 5, 3. Change this setting. Edit it. Make this 3. Everything but 9 is simple. Yes, Mr. Young. Good. All right. Now we're good to go. All right. So this is how it's going to look. Now, free stock charts, guys, any free trading software is going to have some extreme limits on it. You're not going to be able to do cool scans. You're not going to be able to do a lot of stuff, but you will be able to look at charts. You will be able to learn. Trading is trading, right? As you know, everything free comes with a caveat, right? Just like this webinar is free, but you have to hear me talk about how cool I am for 2 hours, right? Everything has a caveat when you go with free. So don't worry if you see the ads and all that kind of stuff. It just comes with the territory, but it's a good overall program. You can sign in and make portfolios and do stuff. It's cool. And then like you can have different layouts and you can do a lot of different things. So you can actually make it look like this, how I have mine, where you have a daily chart and intraday. Also, you know, if you go here and you change this to 5 minute, move this down, and then add in 90, a moving average, add it to price history, add in the moving average again, add it to price history, 533 Wade, and then go add VWAP, add it to price history. Cool. Now let's change around these colors. I want you to change this to 9 EMA. Let's make it that sexy blue. Woo! I think I'm getting my next car in this kind of blue, but it might be a little bit weird. Since I'm in my mid-30s and not married, I feel like if I had kind of like a Miami blue kind of car, I would really, it'd really be suspicious. All right, so I got 9 EMA, 20. Let's move this. Intraday, we always use EMAs. And let's make this a different color. Let's give it that fuchsia. And then VWAP, let's leave it as is. Now we're good. So now you've got your intraday and your daily charts look just like mine. Okay, so we were looking at any particular stock like AVAV, all right, AVAV. If we look at this AVAV, because this is something that looks like a hot little runner today, right? So what you want to do to put a symbol in is you hit J, and then the change symbol button will come up, and you can put in AVAV. See, now your chart, intraday chart looks just like mine. Pretty cool, right? And you can't change around the colors. So TC1000 is cool. Like, see this black? You can change around the colors to anything. So like I have this black and black, but if I wanted to keep the back color light blue, if I want to keep it a dark blue, if I want to keep it at white, you know, if I want to keep it at red, And then you can change around these gradients, and you can have some really damn cool. I mean, you can have some techno colors going if you want. If you want to roll in TC2000 with some crazy colors, you can really do a lot of interesting stuff with it. That's one of the reasons I like it. I always kind of like this burnt orange background. I'm all about setting up my chart so that I can easily see like what's going on. Does that make sense? So that's always been kind of my thing, is can I easily see really what's going on? That's why I keep the left side orange and the right side more black, just so I easily know. So, by the way, this is a hot little pattern that we're going to learn today. So your AV will look like this. We'll have it the same way. Now, if you want them right next to each other, see this button right here? Click it, and they'll be on top. You have your daily chart. You have your intraday. For those of you guys that don't really know what daily is, intraday is, don't worry about it. We'll get into that in that stock market basics class. It gets into that. You can set up your tabs however you want, by the way. You can go in, and so you can keep them next to each other. And I'm sure some of you computer geeks got probably some ad blockers and stuff. And so you can kind of make this look fairly close to mine. Nothing is ever perfect, but you can do it. It's going to look pretty close. Cool. So then when you guys are going through and doing your homework, I would do that. Use that free stock chart. So now let's get back to scanning, because we got a lot of stuff to do. I just took this huge tangent. So I want to scan for stocks that are moving 3% or more with high relative volume. So I want to see them moving pre-market. The reason is those stocks have news. The reason I want to trade stocks that have news is that stocks that have news will move independently to the market. They will have their own independent order flow of volume. A stock on a technical level, you take a hot trading pattern. If you take a hot trading pattern, yeah, it can go up 5%, 10%, even 15% if the float's low enough. But how do you get something that's going to move like 50%, 100%? It's got to do it on a chart pattern, right? You don't just draw a squiggly line and something just explodes like that. You need some type of news, right? Something fundamental. And then what we want to do is marry it with the technical, which we're technical traders. So when you go fundamental and then you go technical, that's the perfect storm, right? That's the two superpowers of the world had a baby. Donald Trump, Celine Dion. Together as one, they could solve humanity. Oh, man. I love Celine Dion. Donald Trump, I don't know yet, but I really like Celine Dion a lot. Sometimes when I'm stressed out trading, I'll put it on, and the people in my chat room. So I trade live in front of my students in the chat room on video all day. And they'll know, if I'm stressed out trading, I'll just put it on. And then everybody, it'll just be that kind of weird look. Everybody's oh man, he's listening to Celine Dion. Things are about to get serious in the markets. So we want low float, clean daily charts, and we're looking for up and down gappers. I want stocks to have good news and bad news. This is very important. We've got to learn to be able to short and long our stocks. Then at nighttime, I run all different types of scans. I run a 4% breakout scan. I have a go-to stock list scan. I have scans for specific patterns if I was looking for a particular pattern. In TC2000, you can build a scan for anything. In TC2000, you can build a scan for anything. You could say, I want $1 stocks that have this much volume, that move this much, that have been going sideways for this long. You can say anything you want, and they'll come up with it. And they have all these kind of pre-built things. And so you're really just coming in and plugging in data to build out your own scan. It's really interesting. I spent quite a bit of time. It took me a long time to get used to TC2000 because, I was always trying different softwares. Anybody ever do that? You jump from software to software, or guru to guru, right? Or class to class. And you never really get down to business, which is taking one thing and getting really damn good at it. And I was like that for a long time. So it took me a long time to get good at TC 2000 till my own mentor was just like, dude, how many softwares do you need? How many classes are you taking? I'm like, well, I'm trying to learn meditation, and I got this business class I'm taking. I got the entrepreneur class. I got this class. And I'm going to this class and doing this class. All right, you're doing all this shit. And he's like, Cal, you're a hot wreck. You're unorganized. You don't even know how to trade, and you have spent $10,000 on junk, tools, classes, gurus, to do what? I'm like, shit. He goes, one of your problems is you're just jumping around. You're taking bits and pieces of the information. He called me an information whore. I said, what's that? He goes, well, an information whore is somebody that thinks that they need more pieces of knowledge to get better. He goes, but in trading, it's not like that. It could be like that in real life, but he goes, we're traders. We don't really live that life. He goes, but in trading, you don't need more pieces of knowledge. You need to take what you know and become a master at it. Build mastery at it. That's going to be really, really important. And so that's what we worked on. So I had all these different tools I use and all these different strategies. And he said, it was like this. He goes, I'm like, what about this one? Toss it. I'm reading this book. Toss it. Everything I did, he said, toss it. So in the end, we simplified my approach. We picked TC 2000. He goes, you can use this one tool. That's it. I'm like, what? But what about these? What if this happens? What if this happens? What happens? These things will happen. You still lose money. So what difference does it make? I'm like, yeah, that's true. In the end, we simplified it, and that's really kind of what helps. So, always kind of think about that. You don't need too much stuff. Have one simple scanner charting thing that looks cool and feels good and is easy to move around in. Okay? For those of you guys planning on taking our next boot camp, I know a lot of you guys have already signed up. Our next boot camp starts March 13th. Whoever's taking our March 13th class and wants all my scans, all my layouts, so like all these different layouts I use on T1000, so yours looks exactly like mine, just put in your email and your number, and I'll have my guys literally get you the layouts. It's really easy. On TC2000, if you open up your TC2000 mail, what happens is, like, if once I send you the files, you just have to open it. So see, you open it, and then boom, the layout is in your computer. So it's really, really easy. I'll send you everything, and we'll set up all your computers and all of that stuff. It's going to be really, really easy for you guys to do. So your TC2000, whoever's coming in the next class, just let me know. Put in your email or whatever, and then I'll show you how to get TC2000, and I'll get you all the layouts, and I'll get you all the scans, and yours will look exactly like mine. Sashi, half of my classes is all longer term stuff. You have to learn how to do longer term trading, like those 2 to 14 day trades, before you can day trade. Your best day trade, Sashi, comes from an idea of a bigger picture move. So like, Sashi, if you're thinking about, like, say I wanted to day trade something back and forth. So guys, Sashi is asking me, well, what if I have a job? What do I do? You swing trade. I became a professional trader from just swing trading. I didn't do any day trades. I had an awesome job. I worked at a headhunting firm. I was the self-proclaimed rainmaker. I couldn't day trade all day. I had about 1 hour I could day trade, and then I had to do swing trades. I still built up my account enough from doing those 2 to 14 day thrusts to leave my job. And when I started Bulls on Wall Street, we didn't do any day trading. It was all built on longer term trading. So half of our class is built on having the big picture, Sashi. And then from the big picture, we get into the smaller stuff. So that's going to be important. I'm on East Coast too, buddy. I'll show you how to do the bigger picture trades. Okay, so we've got the scans. Marie, I got you, baby. So how do we get into this stuff? All right, so I got my scans, okay? I go through each single one that's above or below 3%, put them on a list. Now, what the heck is it I do? Isn't that the hardest part of trading? Or any time you try to learn anything, somebody's just talking, right? You ever come in and like, people go crazy with the platitudes. And I watch webinars all the time. I say, how do I get in? Right? How do I do this? How do I do it? Right? It's always the case. So this setup is really, really easy because you can do right away. On Nivas, I'll show you that in a hot second. So opening range breakout is an effective day trading setup that gets you into strong momentum stocks early in the move. The key characteristics are we're looking for a stock that gaps up or down at the open. We are going to buy on the break of the consolidation range at the open. We want to see minimum 3 candles of sideways movement on 5-minute bars. You can do them on other time frames, but I do them on 5-minute. That's my thing. This setup is best within the first 30 minutes of trading. So what I mean, how this is going to look, and we'll have the actual charts, but how this is going to look, so you're going to have a stock that gaps up. So it's going to spike up at the open. And then we want to see it build a range, a very tight, easy range. And it should be obvious. Like you should look at it and be like, bam, that's the range. I can put a tabletop on that thing. That's when you have a range. Then what happens is when you bust above it, you're going to buy as soon as it breaks, and you put a stop loss at the bottom of the range, and now you're in to an opening range breakout. Pretty simple. When a stock gaps down, and it's clean, remember, always clean daily chart. Gaps down, you go sideways, 1 candle, 2 candles, it's got to be 3 minimums. It could be 5 or 6 or 7, right? But it's always at the open. Minimum 3 candles. When it busts lower, we short it. For those of you guys that are unfamiliar with shorting or a little bit afraid, right? If anybody's a little bit afraid of shorting, all shorting is when you are betting against a stock. So you're betting on it to go down. Betting on it to go down. Joaquin, you should ask him where he learned it. I am the godfather of trading. I'm a few years older than him, but he's one of my best friends. I love him. Very, very simple. So now what are we looking for? All right, so let's talk about, so how does it look on a chart? Okay, so what we're looking is very, very simple. Whoa. I'm looking, and guys, it doesn't matter, by the way, if it's like a $5 stock or a $100 stock. We just want range. A stock that is $50, but it will move around $10 back and forth. That's a lot easier and a lot less stressful than trying to trade a $1 stock that moves around 20 cents. You know, sometimes you get stuck in those because it's like you don't have that range to really kind of sashay around. You know, and so I like stocks with big range. That's just my thing. Very, very important. So when we go into this, guys, you know, what we're looking for is something really, really simple. Just really, really simple. I need to see a gap up, right? I'm looking for a gap up. Then from there, I want to see minimum 3 sideways candles. 3 sideways candles. And when we break that range, now what we want to be doing is buying the break of the range as soon as it breaks with the stop under our nearest support. Okay? A stop under our nearest support. So I'm going to buy the break of the range and stop under the nearest support. Now, anytime you buy the break of any near range, this is very natural. What'll often happen, and you know, we've just got to always kind of be mindful of this. What will often happen when you buy any break of a range is you'll often come back and retest the breakout spot. So don't be afraid. Like if you buy it, if you have a breakout and you break above it and you kind of come back and get close to it and retest it before it goes, that's healthy. That allows a stock to build up more power. So don't worry necessarily about that. That's going to happen quite often. Hold on 1 second here. I got to put out an alert to my chat room. So it looks like these cryptos are bumping. Anybody trade the cryptos? Oh, yeah. Oh, we have a cryptocurrency chat room, and it's just always just, this is like my guys, like this time of night, that's when they're starting to get jiggy, you know? This is when they start to get wild. So it's just kind of something fun to do. So I got to let them know what's going on. Because they're probably going to be screaming, where is the big boss? Dun, 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 dun. Good, 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 good. Yeah, a lot of stuff going on. So you buy, set your stop under. So see now you spike up a little bit. You come back and retest that spot, and then whoo, right? You're off to the races. Now, this is the interesting thing about something like this. All right, this is the interesting thing about something like this. When you guys are trading, right? When you guys are trading and you see a big gap up, when you see a big gap up, notice how this was 150, gaps up to 2. That's 25 damn %, ain't it? It seems like a lot. Seems a little bit overly aggressive, don't it? That's okay. When you have a low enough float, man, we've got to go in and say, okay, if the float's low enough, something could gap up 25%, and we still could keep going. We still could keep going. So don't worry about this type of gap up. So this gap's up 25%. A lot of times we are conditioned as retail people. Something's already moved up too much. We're thinking, oh man, like this is no good. It doesn't have to be like that. Does not have to be like that. So something that's up 25%, if the float's enough and the volume is high enough, guess what can happen? You can get up 50%, 100%, 200%. This thing gapped up, and then it kept running. It gapped up and it kept running. It ended up being up 217% that day. Think about that. 217%. It opened up 25%. That ORB triggered the big run. Now, this is the thing to always think about. If something's an opening range breakout, right? We call it opening range breakout. It's for the open. If it's called opening range breakout, how long are you going to be holding it? How long are you going to be holding it? For the open, right? So most likely, I'm selling into the open. Most likely, I'm selling into the open. So I may hold for an hour or two max, but most likely they could be anywhere from 15 minutes to an hour. Opening range breakout means I trade at the open. Middle of the day, I have different setups. End of the day, I have different setups. Now, one of the things that I always think about, like, how do we sell out of these things, right? Like, how do I sell out? Okay, so I got this opening range breakout. It's amazing. I love it. How do I get out of it? I always think that if I risk 10 cents and I make 20 cents, 30 cents, 40 cents, so I'm getting a multiple of my risk, I want to take some off the table. And then I want to put a stop in my buy price. I want to put a stop in my buy price because it makes it a free trade. Free. I know all you Indians in there, Sashi, right? You hear that word free, you get very, very excited. You tell my dad, My dad, when I had hair, and I had a mane. You know, Indian people, when we're young, we have like amazing hair on the top of our heads. And then, you know, we're like just normal people. Then as we get older, the hair leaves our heads and it grows on our bodies. But when I had hair, my dad used to scour the state of Michigan looking for grand openings to Bo-Ricks. So Bo-Ricks is like a haircutting place. Anytime Bo-Ricks would open a new location, they'd give free haircuts that day. So like all my haircuts when I was younger was from these Bo-Ricks. This man would drive 1 hour, go get me that, you know, save me that $6 Bo-Ricks haircut. Indian people love free. But I'll tell you what, no matter where we've gone, me and my dad, we've traveled all over the world. Me and my parents spent a month in Bali a couple years ago with my sister, Hawaii, everywhere. Everywhere we've gone and all the fun experiences we've had due to, you know, our trading business, nothing ever made him as happy as that free Bo-Ricks haircut. So why I put my stop loss at my buy price once I sell some is that, guess what? Now it's a free trade. It's a free trade. If it goes up, great. If it goes up a little bit and comes back down, at least I don't lose. It's a free trade. Wherever it's going to go, it's going to go. Maybe it goes up 100%. Maybe it goes up more. But it is a free trade. A free trade. And so that allows me to relax a little bit and let the thing develop the way they want to. You know, when you go to the casino and you lose your own money, man, it's a hot wreck, right? It's really, really nervous. But when you go to the casino and you're gambling on somebody else's dime, oh man, all of a sudden it's cocktail waitress, drinks for me and all my friends. Here's a 20, right? You're having fun. When you go to the casino, it is not your money. Oh man, it's a good feeling. Trading is the same way. So I always like to scale out when I cover multiple of my risk. I use my moving averages. I use higher highs, higher lows. Joaquin, it's like a kind of 2 hour, 3 hour kind of subject. I'm going to give you just some baselines because there's no just easy way to say it. One thing, guys, to remember in trading is there's no such thing in trading as green light buy, red light sell. If you ever hear the term signals, like people always message me on Instagram, they're like, do you sell any signals, sir? And it's like, what the fuck is a signal, right? Dude, I'm making a work of art here in my trades. I have a recipe. It's a souffle. I don't work on signals. There's nothing in trading that's green light buy, red light sell. This is a moving pieces, right? We have to use dynamic things to get in and out of our trades. Remember, guys, if we had concrete things, signals, right? Red light, green light buy, red light sell, how would we compete against the millionaires and the billionaires, the hedge funds, the mutual funds, the algos, the crooks, the government, the Federal Reserve, the Chinese, the Singaporeans, and everybody else in the market? How do we compete if it was just red light, green light buy, red light sell? We've got to use our brains. And we all have them. You all been good at something in your life, right? So you've been good at something in your life, you can be good at this. So we want to come in and use a dynamic reason to sell. But Joaquin, just to give you the simple one, when you cover your risk times a few, sell some. Use your 9 EMA if it starts to trend. Really let that thing develop. Cool? And then we'll learn a few more. TTWO. Stock gaps up. Sideways movement. See that? See how tight that range is? It's really easy. You can see that thing. I mean, no matter how blind you are, and I got Coke bottles for glasses, no matter where you are, you can see when TTW gapped up, that sideways movement. It should look like You should be able to see it right away. When that range breaks, I buy. I set my stop under my near support. So in this particular case, you got your 9 EMA just right up under it, right? And then you also have this range. So it's really the same spot. Put your stop under it and let her roll. Don't be afraid of the price of a stock. I showed you that CLSN, it was $4. This one's $90. Don't care. We're in the business of making money. If I see something hot, I'm taking it down, right? I am taking it down, and we've got to always kind of be mindful of that. Don't be afraid to take it down. Boom. Now let's talk about the next one. Best Buy. So Best Buy had a gap up on earnings, right? Had a gap up on earnings. Beautiful daily chart. Notice how clean the daily chart is. Its bigger picture is saying it's a go. So now intraday, right, what we're doing is waiting for the gap up. We need minimum, 3 candles of sideways consolidation. When you break the range, and sometimes you may draw a little trend line on it. It may not go right across. It may come at a diagonal. You got to connect the dots a little bit. Sometimes that'll happen. Buy, set your stop right up under the support. See, a trade like this, you might risk 20 cents. So you can have a few hundred shares. You're risking $60, right? Even if you have a small account, you can have yourself a nice trade. Netflix, same type of deal. A little bit more expensive stuff, but you gap up. You go sideways. You bust out of that range. You buy. Buy. Set your stop right under. And now you let it rock. Now look. You got a small account, don't worry about it. You buy 25 shares, something runs $10. What did you make? $250. Trading in your trading career is built brick by brick. Brick by brick, class by class. There are no shortcuts. Everybody wants to take their $2,000 and make $1,000 in one day. Could it happen? Sure. But that's not how we plan out our careers, right? We've got to give ourselves a chance to really do this long term. And so we want to be taking 200, 300, 400, 150, 80, 100, 200, whatever. Build it brick by brick and you go long term. If I've only got a few $1,000, if I can do 50 to 100 every day, where am I by the end of the month? Where am I by month 2? If I do it really steady like that, in 60 days, you've grown your account quite a bit, but you've done it in a low risk way, right? We're not looking for lotto tickets. We're looking for jobs. We're looking for careers. We're looking to have a system that we can duplicate and do over and over and over. So don't get fooled. Don't ever get fooled by, hey, I'm gonna turn $500 into $100,000 in 10 days or 20 days or 30 days, 60 days. No, man, we're going to go this brick by brick. That's the best way to build the foundation. Baidu, big range break here. See that 200 spot? Now, you gap up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 candles it takes before it breaks. That's okay, right? It's still at the open. Not everything is going to happen right at the third, right? Sometimes it's going to be 4, 5, 6 candles. Cool. Buy, set your stop, let her rock. Big range on some of these bad boys. Now, this is the fun part. This is the fun part. You don't have to just do long on these. You can also go short. Stock gaps down 3% or more. Spike down. 1 candle, 2 candle, 3 candle, 4 candle, 5 candle, 6 candles. Sideways movement. Break down. Put your stop. And now you're into this thing to the downside. Guys, shorting is fun, by the way. You got to learn how to short. All a short is you're turning your trade upside down. Your long trade upside down. Just turn that frown upside down. That's all a short trade is. And so don't worry about, I've never shorted before. A lot of people, like, they get really, I wouldn't say afraid when they short, but people don't like it. In the beginning, it feels a little bit weird. But I wouldn't worry too much about it. We've got stuff we can do. Check this out. This is IRBT. I just took this the other day. This is about 1 month ago. This was the shredder, right? So gap down, 1, 2, third candle, short, set your stop. Then you got other trades that you were able to take later. We're going to learn in class midday trades, end of day trades. I teach it tonight, but we'd be on the tube for 8 hours. Check this out. This is a TTWO. I just did this trade a couple days ago. So you got this gap down on earnings. See, gap down right here. Then right at the open, look, 1, 2, popped up a little bit, came down, built a nice range, a line in the sand, right? I'm putting a line in the sand, and when you go below, you short, meaning you bet on it to go down. And the shorting is really easy. For those of you guys that are unfamiliar with trading platforms, this is like, say I wanted to bet on something that goes down. This is what I would be doing. I whip on my trading platforms. My trading platform looks like this. I keep it right next to my TC1000. Say I wanted to short 500 shares something. I just hit 500 and I go short. And guess what? Hey, Sean, what's up, baby? I go 500 short. I'm in. It's no different than buying. You're just doing it in reverse. When it goes down, you make money. Now, speaking of ORBs, check out this bad boy. Check out this bad boy. And Wayne, I got a pattern for that too. You're right. Gap down. See it? 1 candle. 2 candle. Third candle, you break down. Short. You can drop $2, $3 in a hot second, guys. In a hot second. And that's what it's all about. You got even 100 shares. Something drops $3, $4 in a couple minutes. Guess what? You're done for the day, right? That's where we want to go. So don't worry about price. Don't worry about anything. The ORB pattern is awesome because you can take chunks and you do them in a handful of candles. When I was new, I was awful at this trade. Oh my gosh, I lost so much money on this trade when I was in my 20s trying to figure this trade out. Because it just moves so fast, I could never get it right. But you know what? I wanted to always learn it. Like I had to learn it, and so I kept suffering through it. You know why? I never wanted to work all day. I only wanted to trade that first hour. I'm not in the trading game to sit at my computer all day. Right? I'm in the trading game so I can make money, have fun at something I like to do, and then spend the rest of my day making really bad decisions, doing the things I really like to do, which is be on the beach. I live on the beach out here. Be on the beach, go on my boat, go to bars, play volleyball, travel. Those are the things. I have lived in every spot in the last few years. Any hot spot you can think of that you're like, man, I'd really like to sit around for a month there. I've been there. Spent a month by myself in Hawaii last year. Sat around my laptop, took it around everywhere, goofed around, didn't talk to a single person for 2 weeks. Just kind of, I was doing my yearly planning. Costa Rica, Colombia, Bali, anywhere you could think of. The reason I spent so much time learning this ORB pattern was, man, I just wanted to trade that first hour. If I can short 1,000 shares down here and it dropped $2, $3, that's good for me. That's a nice day. If I'm a smaller account and I can short 100 or 200 shares and it drops $2, $3, good enough for me too, right? Guess what? If you're in Bali and you make $200 in a day, you're living like a king. You are living like a king. This doesn't matter the price of the stock. See, this is small cap stock. This is my best trade of my life, by the way. So I always love bringing this one up because it gives me good memories. We have a summer boot camp every year. So I have summer boot camp twice a year where people come and stay at my house. And it's kind of a sausage fest sometimes, but because the conditions are sparse, right? The rule is everybody's got to stay at my house. It's a slumber party. I'm not a big believer in hotels or any of that stuff. In Destin, they don't even have hotels. You know, this is just a little beach town. So everybody's got to stay at my house. So we had summer boot camp, and it was awesome because I made the biggest trade of my life. You know, in the mornings, we go through the gappers. We put them on the big screen, and we sit there and we talk about them. And this one came up, and Jake the Snake. Jake is now one of my best students, but at the time he was brand new. He called this out. So this thing gapped from 150 to 250. It's up 75% pre-market. You would think that's way too much, right? How much more could it really go up? You know, was what we were all thinking at the time. How much more can it really go up? Then we looked, and the float on this was like a few million shares. Well, look at the first 5 minutes of the day. How much volume did it do? 1.25 million. The next 5 minutes, 1 million. Another 1 million. 2 million. So on and so forth. It was doing its whole float, guys, in a matter of minutes. I mean, you can't even write the script for that, right? So when you see something like that, if you buy right at the open, like if you buy it right away, it could just come crashing down. So we don't want to do that. We want to have structure around our trade. So we wait for the ORB, right? So you gap up, sideways consolidation, start going sideways, 1 candle, 2 candle, 3 candle, 4 candle, build yourself a range. So that $3 mark was the breakout. Once it busted over 3, it was all hell breaks loose. And by the way, I only had 5,000 shares of this thing. It wasn't like I had crazy amount of shares. It was $3 stock. And boy, sometimes they just run. Now, this is the thing. Not all of them run like that, right? That happens, you know, once a month or once every couple months or whatever it might be. But if you take the same patterns over and over, say you take that pattern 10 times, 3 or 4 of them might move up 5 to 10%. 2 of them will move up 20% plus, right? And the rest of them will be duds. They might turn into losses. That's just the nature of the game. But what happens if you keep duplicating and doing that pattern over and over, you're going to catch those home runs. You're going to catch those home runs. And low float is not hard to sell because low float does not mean low volume. Low float does not mean low volume. And I use ORBs in every market because ORBs have nothing to do with the market. ORBs on earnings plays have nothing to do with the market. If a stock has news out, right? So the market is flying, but a stock has news out, right? That the CEO's getting handies from the janitor in the janitor's closet while sipping on cognac and Clorox, that stock's going to tank, irregardless of what's happening in the market, right? That's some nasty news. It's kind of gross too. I feel a little bit weird even saying it out loud, but that's the type of stuff that happens sometimes. You hear news, and it's bad news or bad earnings, it's going to do whatever it is going to do. So, Sheik, that's a really good question. The stocks, when they have fresh news out, they move independent of the market, and that's why I love the pattern. You can do it on non-earning stocks, but, oh yeah, you do them on this type of shredder, now we're really, really going. So just something to kind of keep an eye on. ORBs are awesome. See, like whether the market was up or down today, this AVAV had bad news out, right? It's going to go and do It's ORB no matter what. You know, me and my man Sheikh Kebab. Cool. Now let's talk about the next pattern. Quick pullback buys. Quick pullback buys. So, and by the way, I have a whole different list of patterns that I use for swing trading. We'll have a class on it sometime. I've done a bunch. If you go on my YouTube and stuff, I have a bunch on them too that we do for swings. A bunch of webinars. Quick pullback buy is when a momentum stock has a strong thrust in the morning and pulls back to support as traders take profits. Key characteristics. We're looking for strong upward movement in the morning, preferably on higher than average volume. We're looking for a quick pullback buy to either the 9 or 20 EMA. What we're going to do is buy that first pullback when it gives us confirmation that the area is going to hold with the stop loss under that last low. Now, it doesn't mean that anytime something just pulls back to a moving average, we buy. Wouldn't it be nice? Right? We'd all be bajillionaires. But what it means is that we map out our trades. When you think of a trade, when you're a trader, you're always going to be mapping things out. So what's your map of the day? Well, number one, I've got to find stocks that I'm going to trade. So that comes from a scan. Okay, so now I have a scan and I have a list of stocks I may want to trade. Well, now what do I do? Well, once you have them, you've got to wait for a pattern. So we learned one, which is ORB. So my thinking always at the open is if a stock does not ORB, then I wait for the quick pullback setup. So you have two options on how to get in. Stock spikes up and it goes in that tight range. Good. I ORB shred that thing. If a stock spikes up at the open, but it doesn't ORB, it just starts to kind of fizzle down, holds at a moving average, then starts to run, I'm buying it right here when it starts to hold. And that's even more fun because now I got a cheaper price. I've got a little bit of a slower trade and a little bit easier entry on where to put my stop loss, but I'm still in the same stock that I would have been the other way. So it ends up being a really nice trade, but it gives us options. Remember, we're mapping it out. I'm a trader. What are my options? I've got this hot stock and I got to get into it. So I am going to go ORB or quick pullback. Those are my options. And if I don't see those options, guess what? If I don't see those options, then I don't do anything. I don't do anything. I just sit and wait. There's a reason that we watch multiple stocks. If this stock doesn't do it, another one will. And so how, for those of you guys that are going to have TC 2000, I'll make sure to send you my layouts. I have a 6-window layout. So see on the bottom, you can open it up and you go 6-window layout. The 6-window layout is awesome. I can watch 6 different stocks here. So I put in all the different stocks that I'm watching that I might be looking for patterns. And then I just wait. What I do is I right click this. If you can see how it says float a new window layout. Now look at that. You can drag this to another monitor. Whoop. So now I got another monitor and I can just sit there and stare at it. For those of you guys that don't have another monitor, that's okay too. For day traders, it's nice. For day traders, it's nice to have a couple monitors. For swing traders, people that have jobs and do longer term trades, you only need a laptop or an iPad. You don't need really much going on. Guys, I professionally day traded all over the world with one really shitty laptop. Me and my buddies, Omar, Tim, the Butt Dog, we lived in Costa Rica for months. We all had dumpy laptops and we just worked off those ones. You know, we didn't need much. My Wi-Fi signal was like 1 megabyte per second for 4 months. Didn't matter. That's all you need to trade. You don't only need so much, but having a second monitor can be helpful. You know, Asus makes these USB monitors that you can just connect right to your laptop. And those are pretty cool. They cost like 130 bucks. You can get them. You can get even a little bit cheaper ones. They're USB. You just plug them right into your laptop, and they're really thin and stuff. You know, you don't have to like, it doesn't take up too much room. I mean, they're so thin. Probably like this. Let me see if I even have mine over here. Oh, here they are. I take this bad boy. I can fit two of them. I fit this right in my backpack. It's pretty thin, right? It's just a USB. You plug that thing right in your laptop. Now you're mobile. If you got an iPad actually has an app that you can download that'll make your iPad into a second monitor if you have an iPad too. All of those work. Cool. So that'll be something that can just help you out over there. So that'll be easy. So I use that 6-window monitor layout to just keep track of all these things. So now let's get into it, right? Let's get into it. Okay, quick pullback bar. So this is what I'm looking for. So this is SPLK. So this stock comes as a nice trend. It's breaking out the highs. You get this nice gap. It goes from 93 to 100 bucks right at the open. Now I've got two options, right? I got two options. What are my options? So I see this thing gap up. If it hangs out at highs and ORBs, then what do I do? Hey, Zephram, I'll get it all to you. I got you. If it doesn't ORB, I just wait. Let it come back to its moving averages. I get my green candle to hold. That's all it is. If I don't do an ORB, I just wait till it pops back down to its MA, moving average. This will be even on your free stock charts. This is your 9 EMA. Remember that sexy light blue moving average we added in. Pulls back. It's got to test it. Then I want to see a green candle to hold. While this candle is holding, I'm going to buy within this candle. I don't wait for it to close and get into the second candle. While this thing is holding and it's green, I want to hold this thing. It doesn't have to have a gap. This class is just about gaps, but it doesn't have to have one. It could just spike up and come back. In this particular class, we're just talking about gaps. But yeah, you're right. So you get pop, come back, green candle to hold. And you know why it's a good setup? You got very easy targets, don't you? Very easy targets. You know that this was the old high. So if I get down here at 96, I got potential $4 I could make before I even run into any resistance. I'm going to risk, what, 50 cents? That's a buenos. That's Spanish for good. Oh, man. That's a nice pattern, right? That's a nice pattern. That's where we want to go with this, guys. We want these things to look clean, crisp, tight. If it doesn't look exactly like it looks in these slides, you got to leave it alone. Because if it looks like anything different, you're kind of one-eyeing it, trying to hope that it's a pattern, that hopium is going to cost you a lot of money. In trading, we can't, it's a game of details and inches. It's got to be exactly the way it's supposed to be, or you're going to have a loss. Gap up. Now, it doesn't ORB up here, right? So if it doesn't ORB, we wait. Let it come back. Test the 9 EMA. Candle to hold. While the candle is forming and it's green, I'm going to buy it. I'm going to put a stop under this last low because that'll give me 2 levels of protection. 2 levels of protection. And Jack, sometimes they may just keep going and they may not ORB or quick pullback buy. So what? So what? Doesn't even matter. Once I get the candle to hold, I'm in this thing to shred. To shred. All right? We've got to come in with the mentality, I am in this thing to shred. I got a little gap down on this stock and start to really flush at the open. Now you can do this on the short side. See how you start to pull back? Right into your 9 EMA. Red candle to hold. Short. Set your stop. Let her rock. No matter what account size you have, if you have 100 shares of this bad boy, you still have the opportunity to have a really nice day. Still have an opportunity to have a minimum really nice day. So I want to let this thing pull back to the 9. Red candle to hold. Red candle to hold. And once the candle is forming, I am in. I don't wait for it to close. Nobody in the world has the type of focus to sit there and be like, is the candle closing? Is the candle closing? Is the candle closing? Then the minute it closes, you're in. Right? What are we all doing when we're trading? We're on Match.com. We're goofing around. You know what? There's things going on. You're looking for new stocks. You're looking at your watch list. Nobody's going to sit there and stare at it for the candle to close, most likely. I know I can't. I got what we call the hyperactivity. Just messing. So, red candle to hold, short. And then later on, you can add these things for different trades. Those are just different patterns, which we'll learn. But that's your quick pullback buy. Very, very simple setup, but very, very effective. I do this setup on the short side this is like my go-to. I love shorting these earnings plays because stocks just fall so fast. When there's bad news out, it's like they'll fall like that. So this is ADMS. So this stock gaps down. No ORB. So you start to rip into the 9. It doesn't matter if it breaks through the 9 because you're only going to short it once you get the red candle to hold, Mr. Wayne. Mr. Wayne. Right? So it doesn't matter if it rips through because we won't be in it. It's when that red candle holds, then we're in. So let it pierce through. Nothing in trading is ever going to be so linear. So we'll always kind of get into that and make sure. And guys, a lot of people have been asking me, like our boot camp class that starts March 13th, is it for swing trading? We do as much swing trading as we do day trading. You cannot day trade unless you know how to swing trade. It is a requirement for day traders to learn swing trading. And for swing traders, you should learn day trading too, because at some point you can be sitting around your computer and be like, man, I got to just make a lot of money today. By the way, never drink coffee this late at night. Never drink coffee this late at night. But I'm losing my voice. I got teas and coffees trying to soothe myself. So red candle to hold. Stop goes right above that high. Now, where would your target be? Well, you have a lot of different. Your final target probably is going to be closer to around here, down those lows. And that's a long way. That's $4. If you can break down, keep going down. So I always like to scale out, right? So I might take a third off around here when I got that nice gain. Then I might take a third off at those lows. And then maybe into the next spike, I take another third off. Later on, you can add this thing on different patterns also. It is highly encouraged if you're still trading that day. A lot of times if you get a flush like this, you might be off celebrating anyways. Pretty cool, huh? Very cool, I should be saying. I've been doing these patterns my whole life. Longs, shorts. Now let's talk a little bit about reward to risk ratios. Your reward to risk ratio is how much you'll gain if a stock moves the way you want versus how much you will lose if it goes against you. So if you enter a stock at 20 and anticipate that it could go to 2090, your potential gain is 90 cents. If your stop loss is at 1970, your risk is 30 cents. So your reward to risk is 3 to 1. A potential gain of 90 versus a potential loss of 30. Why is this important? Well, most new traders, they have bigger losers than winners. And typically their average gain is much smaller than their average loss. And so the numbers never work out. I have a lot of students of mine. Yeah, I'm talking to one of the guys that trades for me in our hedge fund. So we have a hedge fund where we give students and allocate them a buying power. They can use my platform. There's no pattern day trade rule. They get like a lot of margin and different stuff. They get a really fast platform. So I can see their trades, which is why some of them do it, because they want me to be able to see their trades. You know, there's that accountability to it. So I'm talking to one of my students, and I'm like, hey, Ryan, man, what's going on? He goes, man, well, my win ratio is like 70% last month, but I didn't make any money. How is that even possible? Right? But you could see, like, every time he had a gain, it'd be like he takes $50, $50, $50, $50. But then anytime he had a loser, it'd be like $200, $300. I'm like, dude, how are you going to take four $50 trades and lose 200 on one trade? Right? He had a reverse reward to risk ratio. So even though his win percentage was good, doesn't matter, right? Because his reward to risk ratios are really, really bad. My mentor, Paul, who does our swing trading service, he teaches 3 classes in our boot camp. So my mentor, Paul, who taught me everything, he teaches 3 classes in our boot camp for the part-time traders. How to trade from work is basically how he does it. Paul had last year like a 54% win ratio. So like nothing too epic, but like his percentage gains on his portfolio were really good. And the reason was, well, his average gain was like 3-4 times bigger than his average loss. So what happens if you take 1,000 trades in a year, right? Say you take 1,000 trades in a year, 500 are winners, and each winner is $200. You've got yourself $100,000. If 500 stocks are losers, and you lose on average at $100, you've got yourself $50,000. Pretty cool, right? So even betting 50%, you can make money. Then what will happen over time as you gain intuition is you will naturally raise your win levels, okay? You'll naturally raise your win levels. Because in the beginning, when you're trading, even if you take my class or somebody's class and you learn everything, you're still going to be a little bit robotic, right? You're going to be checking your trading checklist, essentially. Like, is this good? Is this bad? Right? Am I doing this? So you're going to move a little bit slower and a little bit more surely. You just don't have intuition built in. You don't have that mother's intuition. But over time, after you do it hundreds of times, you start to build up that muscle memory, and you're going to be really doing it. And then all of a sudden, you're not even really looking at anything, right? You're just waking up and you're just doing, right? It's just part of your routine. It's part of your process, how you look at things. You shred consistently. So guys, always remember, one of the best pieces of advice I can give you on there says, always remember to take your profits when you get them. You know, don't take those big losses. I talk to a lot of students that are like pretty sharp, and they make money sometimes. And then what happens is they just give back all their profits, like consistently, all their profits. It happens in my cryptocurrency chat room all the time. See, what happened with cryptocurrency, you know, Bitcoin went from 1,000 to 20,000. When we started our chat room and we were doing all this, Ethereum was like $100 when I was trading the cryptocurrencies, really with a lot of my students. When something goes from 1,000 to 20,000, Ethereum goes from $100 to $1,400. The Litecoin went from $10 to $400. Well, guess what? You think you're always going to have the home run. So what's happening now? The crypto market is just coming down every day. It's not doing anything, the cryptocurrency market. But everybody wants to get those home runs that was there, right, 6 months ago. So what happens is a lot of my students will have 5-6% gains. They'll keep turning into losses. And it's like, dude, that's a nice gain. Those home runs are not there right now, right? You take what you can get. So remember to always have reasonable expectations of your trades and keep taking profits. I implore you to build brick by brick, day by day, class by class, knowledge by knowledge. If you have $2,000 and you do $100 a day, you've doubled your account at the end of the month. It's not sexy, but it is consistent. And once you can do that consistently, how easy is it to turn it and say, I'm going to do $200 a day or $300? There's no difference between 100 and 300 in math, right? We're still talking about, just decimals and stuff. You show me a guy that can consistently make $100 a day, I can show you in 30 days how to turn it into 1,000. That's the easy part. It's remembering to finish in the green. Making $100 a day means you're a winner. You can make money every single day, even if it's a little, you are a winner. Because if you don't, then what are you? You're a loser. If you're a winner, then you're a winner. It doesn't matter if you make 100 or 100,000. We can scale that up. You make money every day, you are a winner, not a wiener. So it's got to be really, really important to do. Let's talk a little bit about just some different things that you guys got to do to get started. How do I get into my peak performance? How do I really hit the ground running? Number one, you need a list of go-to setups. Go-to setups are setups that you know every single thing about down to the microscopic detail. Can anybody say they have that right now? If you do, you are well on your way. If you don't, you are so far off in your trading journey right now. But we've got to get it. See, if you can have a couple go-to setups down to microscopic detail, you can start building mastery over those and really hit the ground running. So we want to do that. As new traders, we get so much pieces of information, right? You guys go on webinars, YouTubes, read books, you have all this stuff. So what that stuff is, when you're taking all these different pieces of information and you're trying to compile it together and figure out your trading, it's just called cognitive overload. Cognitive overload is when you have so much information, but you cannot think about it and compute it fast enough. So you get frustrated. And so then you search for more information, right? Oftentimes people are information whores. They think that because they don't get something, they're not good at something right now, that they need more information. I need to buy more classes. I got to buy more tools. I got to get another guru. I got to get more scans. And it's always more, more, more. But they haven't gotten good at what they already have to get past cognitive overload. So the best way to do it is to build up that muscle memory, meaning that I need to narrow down the focus of all the different things in the trading world down to a couple things. Then I have to have the recipe for that thing. I've got to know it, understand it, memorize it, feel it, internalize it. And then I got to go out and practice that thing every day. Just those couple things. It's got to be boring. You're going to practice it so much and trade it so much and only hunt for a handful of things, it's going to be boring. Man, this is lame. I already know what this thing looks like. I already know what that thing's going to do. That's when you're making money. When you're like, man, this is boring. I already know what that thing's going to do. You're like, dude, playing video games or doing whatever you're doing. That's when you make money. It's not when you're sitting there like this, right? Right? Holding on for dear life, having that anxiety come in. That's not when you make money. So we want it to be boring. So we take all the fun. Variation is fun in your sex life. But when you're into trading, we want just straight up old school, right? Old school 1950s style ways of doing things. We want to have just a couple things going on. That's when you build expertise. And that's when, guys, you have the ability to handle slumps and other things. See, if I'm slumping, I have all the rules for my go-to setups. I can look at my trade journal and figure out where I'm going right or wrong, right? Because I have it all and I'm really focused on my own setups. Number 2, routines, right? Having proper routines to your day. There's so much to think about in the trading day, but if you can narrow down all the different stuff in your trading day into really specific routines, you'd be shocked at how easy breezy things can really be. You know, like I'm on video all day trading in front of my guys. And like, I mean, you don't see me just like whirling around like with all this stuff to do. My homework is ready. I watch a handful of stocks. I wait for my patterns. And sure, I've got to manage them and stuff like that. But it's not this whirlwind of, I got to have 18 monitors and I'm running an orchestra. Not at all. Most of the time, I got my 6-window layouts. I've done my homework. I've got my gappers. I've done my nighttime scans off TC2000. I got my 6-window layout. I put on the stocks that I'm watching, on top. My other monitor, I'm usually watching I like all the sports shows like Undisputed, the Colin Cowherd show. Like I like kind of those sports shows. I'm big into sports. So I like watching those on my other computer. Oftentimes we listen to Celine Dion. And I'm just hunting. I'm just hunting for stuff. And so, but one of the reasons I can do all that is that I have just very, very specific routines of how I do stuff that takes the thinking out of my day a little bit. How do we take dozens of variables and just make it simple? Because sometimes it does feel like it's overwhelming trying to figure out how to learn how to trade. All this stuff that we've learned here and variations of it, I actually did at work. I was a swing trader for a lot of years, and I ran these same type of scans and some different ones. Traded while I was at work at the time they didn't have iPhones. We had to use BlackBerry. The hot phone at the time was the BlackBerry Bold. And the Samsung Blackjack. Those were the hot phones. You had to do it from there. You still be able to do it. Collecting and analyzing data. Most important thing you can do. The most important thing you can do is figure out your strengths and weaknesses as a trader. So you know what to work on, but also just what to dump. I'm a big believer, if you have really huge weaknesses in trading, it's not like life where you gotta kind of keep working on them. You're like, one day I'm going to stop being such a degenerate, right? I'm going to keep working on this. In trading, if you have something that gets you in trouble, we just dump it. Cut it out. I want my students to focus in on what they're good at. Let's find the positive. Let's find what you're good at and then build on it. How do we find more of that? How do we get bigger into that position? How do we trade that more often? And that's where we want to focus. So collecting, analyzing data is really important. The second part is to fix slumps. Somebody calls me up and says, Canal, I'm in a massive slump. Say, hey, what's up? Well, if somebody's like, I'm in a slump, and I say, well, what's going on? First thing I always ask is, what's your average gain versus your average loss? That tells me a whole story of a student beyond what you even think. Tells me the whole story. Remember, I'm a stock doctor, right? So that tells me a story. The next thing I say is, okay, what are the setups that you're trading the best in terms of win percentage? Oh, I'm trading this or that. How do you trade in the morning versus the evening? Or the afternoon? Well, okay, this is my win percentage before lunch, after lunch. Like for me, historically, around lunchtime, I actually lose. I lose. I have like a negative, I have a lower than 50% win rate. And I lose money. No point in me. I should always be out to lunch, right? If after 10 years I'm losing at lunch, what's the point of fixing it? But understanding that data keeps me away. You always see me just blow off. Like, guys, I got to go to the gym or I'm going to the beach. I'm always doing something in that middle of the day. I know I lose money. out of this 100 people in this webinar, whoever it might be, probably in the end, only a handful of people will actually keep a journal. Everybody wants to. They know it's important. I'm telling you, it's the most important thing you can do, but it's tedious. And so people don't like doing it. But that tediousness is really where you're going to make your money. It's in the hours of the trading day is a small portion of your success. It's what you're doing after hours that really matter. So collect and analyze the data is going to be really, really important. Okay. If I ask you what's your week on, you should be able to tell me. How can your teacher, right, help you if you don't have any statistics? Because this is the worst thing you do. Now I'm having trouble. Hey, what's going on? Well, I'm losing money in my trading. All right, so what does that mean? Where are you missing? Well, like every trade, this is what happens to me all the time, by the way. Like every trade I do, like goes against me. I swear, like if I just sold every time I bought, I'd make $1 million, right? Like if I just bought instead of sold, or sold instead of bought, because the stocks always goes. These are things I can't really fix, right? Because I don't have any data. I'm going to say, give me your trade journal. Let me see it. That's actually going to be really, really helpful. So, you know, for us, we have a trade journal that our students use that, you know, it's got a specific format. So it allows me to make comments. I can see pictures of their trades. You know, they can draw little arrows or annotate it however they want. It's pretty cool. And then there'll be notes for a follow-up and stuff like that. That's how you get good. You know, you send me the journal. I go through it, say this is good, this is bad. Good. Next time you won't make the same mistakes. I got a ton of students that they just don't like to do them. And so, you know, it ends up being a little bit more difficult. But over time, what will happen is once you have some struggle, all of a sudden, almost everybody loops back through. You know, I have like 2 stages of trade stuff, right? I have 2 stages of trade stuff. You know, is that anytime in the beginning, everybody wants to, hold on one sec. So in the beginning, everybody wants to do things their own way. Most of you guys are successful in something anyways. Yeah, you can use TraderView. You know, for me personally, TraderView wasn't around when I started journaling, so I can't use it. But I got a lot of my students that use TraderView. You know, they had me as their mentor and stuff, and it's not bad. I got a lot of students that use TraderView, and it's pretty good. So some of the guys will show me on TraderView also, and I'll be able to come in and do all that fun stuff over time. You know, so like Mr. Baum has been one of my students. So some of my mentoring students, I've had them for like years. It's like Mr. Baum is like, you know, he's been with me for years. So he said in the last 12 months, I mean, he's got $430,000 in damn gains, over $1,400. So, and I can go through all his trades, and look, he's got some nasty losers too. I can go through all his trades and go through every single one of these bad boys and make comments and do stuff. Me and him have worked together for years, but it's really cool because I can see like exactly what he's doing, and it's like I can leave a comment and he gets it, and so that's pretty cool too. Some people just don't want to pay for TraderView, right? It's a paid service essentially. So I have the spreadsheet. It's just another way to do it. Obviously, some of these guys are making so much money that the $30 a month is not going to matter. But for somebody that's new, $30 a month, a lot of money. So just something to kind of keep in mind of, man, $25,000 on a trade. Bastard. I always, when I see some of his trades, he's way better trader than I am. But I see some of his trades, I'm like, shit. Like, what's going on? So let's talk a little bit about class. So I'm going to run into the contest. And then what I'm going to be doing is let's talk a little bit about boot camp class, because a lot of you guys are in it. So anybody that wants some information on our classes, swing trading, day trade, whatever, just put in your phone number. I never have really too many people. So we have about 30 people in this boot camp. I usually keep it, I like to keep it at kind of that 35, 45, 50 range. Even though it's live webinars, it just makes the Q&A and stuff a lot easier when we have small classes. So we never let these things get out of hand. But if anybody wants just a phone call to talk to somebody, I got my business partner, Mary Beth. She's a fantastic trader. One of my first students who I built the boot camp after my experience with her. She's my business partner, teaches class with me. She'll do a trading assessment with you guys. She'll find out about your goals, find out about what your experience is, where your hangups are, whatever it might be, and then she'll craft something for you if the boot camp's right for you or if something else is right for you. I've got tons of free classes and all sorts of extra stuff that we can do. So just leave in your phone number if you want somebody to give you a call on that. That's totally cool. You know, and if you need, you know, if you want to leave your phone number, you need a call from me, whatever, we'll get that done. Our class is 28 live classes. Boot camp is 4 nights a week, 8 p.m. Eastern time. I get on the tube just like this. And I come in with the heat. Class is fun. I love doing class. It's fun. And you're going to learn. That first month of class is just your book knowledge. How do we start from the dead beginning and build a foundation every step of the way? If you have not even heard of the word stock before, even better. You have no bad habits. I'm going to set you up with my TC 2000. I'm going to set you up with my scans. Everything that you need, I'm going to set you up with it before class even starts. So I wouldn't worry too much about it. If you haven't had any trading experience, that's good. No bad habits to wipe out. Every class is recorded and archived since the history of our business. So you can even come in and watch previous boot camps. Everything is recorded, the current boot camp, but you can even watch the old boot camps. You can watch boot camp 10 and 15 and 20. We have all of these stored. So, you know, as class is starting, you know, a lot of students say, well, you know what, I'm going to watch a boot camp from a couple years ago. I'm going to use boot camp from a couple years ago, you know, and see what's going on. See, even though the patterns are the same, right? I'm always taking new trades, so there's different examples. Their markets change, right? So we're always adding things and, you know, kind of adapting. You know, the patterns have always been the same, but I have improved a lot over the years. I make my trading style better sometimes. I find new efficiencies, new scans, new things. And so my students have lifetime access to class. I actually have students, even though my students know there's a free webinar, I have students of mine that come in and stuff like this just to say hi. They like to learn. And so you get lifetime access to the recordings. You can come in class as many times as you want. It just becomes a part of people's, routine. They know that Sunday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 8 p.m., I'm going to be on the tube. You know, so a lot of guys, right, their kids are watching TV, their wife's in there. They put their headphones in, and they watch boot camp class. You know, and so that's the whole ball game right there. You know, and this is university style saying. You can see how easy the setup is. You know, you go on here, you get all your links. We've got a forum where everybody hangs out. Quizzes, right? Every week we have quizzes. The videos will be here, and then all the documents, flashcards. You know, I take snapshots of literally, I'm not even joking you. I got setups that I've been I take snapshots of everything. So I got snapshots and snapshots and snapshots and snapshots of different charts, different patterns, you know, all that fun stuff. No nudies, just simple chart patterns. So we got flashcards for them so you can start kind of training your brain. Study guides, position sizing calculators, right? Trading checklists, trading plans. I want my students to work on trading plans. We have a market recap archive, bootcamp archives, different stuff going on. Then the grading the trades document, setup, scanners. For a lot of people, they were not going to, more than half the people probably won't even use TC 2000. You know, a lot of people will use Thinkorswim or Interactive Brokers or wherever they're planning to trade, and they'll use that software. And so, you know, I have all my scanners and stuff so that you can just input in the stuff that I do into your software. So you can use it on any software, you know. And then I've got all sorts of trading psychology videos. You know, we had Dr. Menaker on staff for a while, and he's like a preeminent trading psychologist. I worked with him for a long time. Pretty cool on how to get people to the next level. So we got all that fun stuff in there. But this is our class. What separates it and how we can kind of tie things in for our students. So we have classes that are live, and it's all book knowledge and slides, and that's all cool. But then once class is done, after the first 30 days, I make access for everybody to our chat room, where I trade in front of these bad boys live all day, or till I'm done trading. I should say all day. The chat room's open all day. I'm trading till I'm done. So the chat room is awesome because I put a GoToWebinar link out. And then I go in and I'm literally calling out the trades, and you can see screen share. So it's I got my charts, I got my trading platform, I'm making my moves, and I'm calling them out live. So now you're going to take that book knowledge and marry it to real life knowledge. I actually think I teach a crypto class, and that's the one part that's missing in our crypto classes. I can't teach live because the cryptos are like, they move sporadically, and it's a 24-hour market. Where in stocks, it's like that first hour, there's so much action, you could take 10 trades. Where in cryptos, like you kind of sit around for 10 days sometimes. And so like, I think that's the one part that's missing in my crypto class is like, I can't do live trading. And so there's always something that misses there, right? If you can't trade in front of people live, it's hard to connect that book knowledge of me just saying, watch this, watch this, watch this, to boom. Getting it going. Sergey, you don't. It's just what I like. So I'm trading in front of everybody live. I'll put a snapshot of my P&L. And I'm on audio video. I use this exact same program. So you see my face, Reese. You see my screens, everything. At the end of the trading day, we go over every single trade that I took. How did I do this? How did I make money? Okay, plus 700, right? Or if I lost, you know, the plus 1,300, I think probably the day before I lost, look at this, I lost $2,500 that day. I really let things slip out of control this day. I was up $1,500 that day too. I started goofing around. Not goofing around, but I made a couple of bad decisions. Goof around is a bad term. But it's very interesting. So like it's weird because like you have to go over all these trades, whether you win or lose with your students. And like I'm always yelling at my students, right? So imagine when I make a stupid mistake. And we're doing class and they're like, Canal, is really stupid mistake. I'm like, oh, I know. But that's how you're going to learn. Transparency, live trading and teaching, and somebody that puts in as much to you as you put back in. Now, frankly, I usually give in a little bit more than the students. I'm overbearing. I'm a little bit more overbearing, but that's how you learn. You know, that's how you learn. And so I go in and we talk about these trades. And I think that's kind of the fun part of what we do. While you're watching me, you get 3 months access to that, okay? While you're learning and watching, we start putting you guys on trading simulators. We use the TC2000 simulator because, as you know, I love TC2000. That's when you start trading on the simulator and you start putting your trades on that document. You share those documents with the other students. If you don't want to, you can just do me or one of my team. Now you're starting to get your trades fine-tuned. Personalized trading plans, right? We need to build trading plans. How much capital are you going to trade with? What are your risk management principles? Are you swing trader, day trader? What setups will you trade? What are the rules for those setups, right? A real business plan. You wouldn't walk into a bank with no business plan, would you? If you're going to open a restaurant, would you walk into the bank and ask for money with no business plan? Well, you are the CEO of your small business here. And we're trying to get that into a big boss, big business. So we need a business plan, right? That's your commitment. Access to private student communities. Remember, you get lifetime access to this. And I got a 200-page course book with everything you can think of to know about trading in that course book that goes with the class. My whole brain is in that course book along with class. It's a physical course book too, none of that PDF bullshit, right? It's a real course book. I want you to take a pen, write on it. It's fun, all right? If you have questions, that's my email. That number is my cellular. I went to Michigan State. That's why I have a 517 area code in this. And so that's going to be really important. If you guys want a phone call and you just want to chat about the boot camp, you have questions, just put in your phone number. We will get on the dial, get a hold of you, answer your questions, get on screen share, show you around the sites. You know, we'll come up with something that works for you, you know, and that's my number. You feel free to use it. Text me. You know, text me. I do sometimes FaceTime people back versus call, depending on where I am in the world, if I don't want to waste international minutes. I'm going to Japan next week for a few weeks. I got some speaking gigs there. So I'll be FaceTiming people back. So make sure you have FaceTime. Guys, the first 5 people, right, that put in their phone number and get added, I'm going to give them early bird pricing of $19.99 with 3 months access to the chat room. Class is usually $2,300. We'll give it $19.99. I have payment plans available. I'm not a huge stickler for whether it's $500 a month or, you know, 1,000 down, 500. I know how this stuff goes. We're all trying to get to the same place. When you're in trading, by the way, guys, having like-minded people that you can work with, we have this private student community, having like-minded people is very important. You can tell me any city around, I can tell you somebody that lives there. You know what I mean? Having students that you can work with in your age group or people that have the similar interest to you, it's really important. And then I have in a lot of our classes, I have like our successful students, they're really hands-on. If I'm having trouble with the student, they're not understanding something, I often say, hey, Jake, hey, Taylor, hey, Mary Beth, hey, Josh, can you guys work with this guy? Give him a call. Let's figure out like where his hangups are. That's really important. Ricky, you're in Atlanta. I got so many students with a good 404. Marie, 817. It's got to be what? Fort Worth? Oh, man, Dallas, Fort Worth is the hotbed for traders. It really is. For any of you Indian guys, I know y'all live in the dirty Jersey. That's like the haven for where we are. 314, that's got to be St. Louis. I've got 2 good students, the Weber brothers. Pastor Blake Weber was a 30-year-old youth pastor, and he's a trader. Obviously, youth pastor doesn't make much money. He's a trader. His brother took our class. They both live in the St. Louis area. Kyle owns a bar. Pastor Blake is a youth pastor / trader. I got people all over the place. So I hook people up. That's what I do. You know, if you're in Aurora, is that where Wayne's World is? I think Wayne's World is from Aurora. Oh, man. All right. That we'll have to think about here. I know Wayne's World very well. So, guys, put in your phone number if you want a phone call about that. First 5 people get early bird pricing. Guys, it's been super fun. You have lifetime access to this. No shortcuts in trading. This is a job, right? So we're going to learn this the right way. If anybody just needs references, you want to talk to some students that have been with me for a while or have taken my program, whether it was new or later, it doesn't matter. If you want to really talk to some of my own students, I'll give you any phone number, any reference, that you need. Talk to them. You'll see that people really like what they do. And look, not everybody has a goal of being a full-time day trader, right? Most of our students, they just want to make money. They might like their jobs. We have people that have real jobs that they like. They want to make some money, right? They want to know that they can do this. They may want to travel or make extra money for their families, whatever it might be. It's pretty cool, and that's commendable, if anything, right? It's not everybody wants to be a full-time trader, but we're going to all get there. That's what we're going to learn, and man, it is a fun journey. This is the hardest journey that you can take because it's all up to you. But isn't that what makes it kind of cool? See, it's all up to you. See, at your work, if you don't get your promotion and you don't make your money, what happens? You can blame somebody else. Well, Bob, the cubicle guy next to me screwed up the project. My boss is an asshole. This guy's racist. Now all the racist people are coming out in full force, right? There's all this stuff that you can say that could be why you didn't succeed at your particular job and make the money you want to. But in trading, once you know what you need to know, you've got to do it. So that's infinitely depressing at times because when you screw up, it's like, man, I really screwed up. But it's also invigorating and liberalizing to your brain because when you win, there's no better feeling. I made that trade. That's my money. I created that out of nothing with my own skill. That feels good. Mr. Carlson, I don't use options personally, but people do. That's what makes trading really, really fun, guys. Guys, let's open this thing up to some questions. Oh, contest giveaway. Shit. Josh. Jimmy Ray is the winner of the 60-day boot camp. If Jimmy Ray is still around, message us. Tyson Kinsley has won the intro course and the chat room. And Julie Tan, my girl Julie Tan, intro course plus 3 months access to the chat room. Make sure to message me. And guys, if you didn't stick around to the end, these don't count. These don't count. We'll give them 30 minutes. We'll give them 10 minutes to see if they claim their chat room prizes. If not, Tyson's here. Tyson, message me. You're Gulf Shores, right? We're going to be hanging out anyways. But message me or hit up my guys on the live chat, and I'll get you situated in the chat room and all that fun stuff. Cool. Let's open this thing up to some questions. Reese, what is the biggest change in your mindset? Hold on here one second. My mom blowing me up. What is the biggest change in your strategy mindset from when you were losing to becoming profitable? Do you use the 30-second chart at all? Woo! I would not go 30-second chart. I go 5 minutes. And the reason is that you'll see way too many patterns on a 30-second chart. You'll be just trading for pennies. But in terms of the biggest change in my strategy mindset from when I was losing to when I was profitable was really easy. It was narrowing down all the stuff I was trying to do into a handful of really go-to setups. That changed my mindset because when I started just trading the same things over and over, I got mastery. I got competence. And you know how you get confidence in trading? Everybody always talks about confidence. How do you get confidence? You get confidence from competence. That's what gives you confidence. And so that's what really helped out. Opinions on brokers like SureTrader. you know, I'm not a big believer in trading at like overseas type brokers. You know, I haven't tried using them, so I don't have any, you know, I haven't heard really too many bad things. I got some students that use them. I just personally like to keep my stuff in the US. That's my particular thing. But look, I use an overseas crypto broker. So, you know, I guess that rule just went to hell, right? But usually the thing is a lot of the kind of random brokers have really high fees, hidden fees, and that's where you got to kind of just be mindful of them. But this is the thing, Sean. If you have just a couple $1,000, you're not going to have the same tools and same stuff as somebody with $1 million, right? So like in the beginning, yeah, we may have to trade at some lesser brokers if that's the case. You know what I mean? We've got to do what we've got to do to get our feet in and start doing our dreams. So you're not going to always have like the fanciest stuff. So you got to do what you got to do. Good, good. So a lot of people say, hey, can I earn money trading and then I should do some classes? 99.9999% of the time, those people come right back. You got to learn, and then you earn. Never works like I earn and learn. Because if you were earning, then you wouldn't need to learn. This is the hardest game in town. Hardest game in town. If you don't have the tools and the edge, you don't make money. And so you got to be careful. Now, if you have a strategy that makes you money, dude, more power to you. You come back to me, you know, if you just want a little fine tuning and, you know, we'll chit chat about other stuff. Day trade, swing trade, and day job don't go hand in hand. Yeah, they do. All my students have jobs, Sashi. Think about it. What are the odds that I find a student with $2,500 and money in their trading account that doesn't have anything to do? Everybody in the world, see, I used to do this too. We all think that we're so busy, don't we? We all think we're so busy. My mom told me this. I'm like, she was asking about my friend Kevin. I'm like, well, he's been really busy. You know, he's got a baby. I was like, he's got a baby? The whole world has babies. People in Africa have babies. People in India have babies. People in China have babies. He's got a baby. So what? I'm like, yeah, but he's got a job. Yeah, so he's got a job. So what? So what? Right? We all have stuff to do. Your dreams and what you're trying to do, they can never wait because there's always a job. There's always a wedding. There's always something in the way. I do this all the time. My mom, you know, being from India, she'd be like, Kunal, you need to get married. At least, please, get yourself a girlfriend. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Vishnu, my son, he need girlfriend. I say, Mom, but I got this new project going on. I got this new class. You know what she said? Didn't you have a project going on 15 years ago? Yeah. Didn't you have a project going on 14 years ago that you said you were really busy at and you were going to do this stuff? Yeah. I remember when I was like 22, 23, I said, Mom, I'm going to make a bunch of money and travel the world. At 28, she said, how come you're not traveling in the world? Didn't you say 6 years ago you were going to travel? I said, well, I've been really busy and, you know, I don't have any money, right? So when? At some point, right, somebody's always going to die. Somebody's always going to be sick. Somebody's always going to have a kid. Somebody's always going to have a job. Somebody's always going to be fired. Somebody's always be divorced. That's just life. Life is all chaos. It never ends. Things never slow down. Swing trading, especially, Sashi, you can do a lot of it from your phone. So that's going to be, and Tyson, I do got your text. What is that? Tennessee. So there's always stuff to do. Yeah, you got to do some homework at time. I'd say a good 20, 30 minutes of homework at night will get you going, Sashi. Jimmy, you want a 60-day boot camp, my friend? Message my guys, or just put in your email. They're gonna get a hold of you. You, my friend, you're in this next class. So guys, let me know. Where else? Hey, Isagi, I've got a question. Which crypto brokers are available for your new user signups? I'd go with probably Binance, but they've been having some problems. I've been going Binance. They've been having a couple problems. I'd always start with Coinbase and GDAX. They are the easiest to, they're like the hub where you can hook your bank accounts and all that stuff. And then from there, I try some of the specialty brokers like Binance and Bittrex. Yeah, Roberto. Robert, we've got, for Wayne's World, we've always got room. Oh, yeah, the egg is not on yet because it makes a lot of noise. Hey, Jose. Jose, that's a good question. So Jose says, what percentage of your students are profitable? I don't know. See, the one thing with students, say I have 100 students. 20% of them will do what they're going to do. They're going to fill out their journals. They're going to send you your trades. They're going to do whatever. A good chunk of them just work on their own, and you don't even really hear back from them. You might get an update here or there, but you just don't know. There's a handful of them that, are really involved and like they're always up on your shit. But the other part is that you typically hear more from the troublemakers, right, than the people that are just like, hey, take class and are really doing good. So it's really hard to tell. But I have 137 students that trade with me in my hedge fund, and those guys are good traders. And I talk to a bunch of them and all that stuff, but it's hard over the years. A lot of people just take your class and that's what they do. They take class and then they just go and do their thing. Some people are not very vocal, like, hey, I need help with this or that. And some people are. Oh, Alejandro, thank you. I appreciate it, my friend. I really appreciate it. Hey, Jacob, what's the process to come in and trade with our platform? Once boot camp is done, you have to go in the simulator for a month. You've got to log your trades. Okay, you got to log your trades. And then there'll be a handful of kind of metrics and stuff that I like to look at that, we can get into, but nothing too crazy. You'll have to take some tests like, okay, I know about this, that, and this. We'll look at the simulator trades, and then there's just a couple of really small things. Hey, Martin, how you doing? So brokers I use, I have my retirement accounts. I have my retirement accounts at Ameritrade, right? That's like the biggest, and I've had Ameritrade account since 2000. I have my day trading account. I have my own hedge fund, my own trading platform that I own and operate that's been fine-tuned for exactly how I like to do things, so I can trade really fast. And that I own. And a bunch of my students use it too. Boot camp is 2 hours, 4 nights a week. So that's about 8 hours. And you're going to have to think probably a good couple hours of homework, and study. And this is the thing. Trading is all about screen time. How do I build expertise? The more time you spend at something, just the faster and quicker you learn things. So a guy who spends 10 hours a month learning something, and a guy that spends 10 hours a week learning something, one guy just learns a little bit faster if they both have the same intelligence. Hey, Sean, what is up, baby? Do you invest in bonds and other securities? I invest in a lot of securities, but no bonds. Unless we're talking bail bonds for One of my friends that's gotten himself in trouble. No, I'm just kidding. Hey, Julie Tan, I got you, girl. Make sure you put in that email, and then I'll have somebody get a hold of you. Congratulations. Good. Anybody else got any questions? Ooh, Tesla. You know what? And I don't personally watch the 100 SMA, but a lot of people do. I just haven't. To me, Tesla's just in this big range. I like the trade stocks that are trending. You can see his daily charts has been a big range. So I personally would not use it because your moving averages just go sideways when a stock is not trending. So in a non-trending stock, moving averages, they don't really serve any purpose. Mr. Rogers, summer spring boot camp starts March 13th. Then after that, the next couple months, any class we do will be more like in-house. So we'll probably have in May like an in-house kind of thing, and then so on and so forth. Hey, Gene, I'll work. Just message us. I'll work something out. I'll get that fixed. Yes, just private. It's just my own capital, Martin. I got you, Gene. Gino, my apologies. Hey, Reese, what's going on? When you enter a trade, how often are you marketing in versus limit orders? So I actually use a market limit order, which is a little confusing, but on my platform, I have a button that's essentially, it's a market order with the limit on it. So it'd be like 2 cents above the ask. So I can go in and do a limit plus, and that's a limit plus a limit plus a market, which is usually my preference. If it's liquid. If it's e-liquid that it has a spread, I definitely want to use limit. I never do, Reese, there's never anything in trading I've ever done 100% of the time. So yeah, I do everything a little bit at some point, yes, for sure. Hey, Joe, you bet I'll have somebody contact you about an assessment and get a hold of you in the next couple days. Tyson, I'll make sure to get you that chat room and that intro course by tomorrow, brother. We got to catch up. I got your text. My man. Guys, anybody else got any questions? It has been an honor to work with you guys. Seriously. As you can see, it's 11 o'clock at night, but I'm still pumped. And you guys should be pumped too, because you guys are starting an awesome journey. I remember mine like it was yesterday. It was full of aha moments and heartbreak moments. But in the end, it's all worth it. And that's the biggest thing. This is the hottest game in town if you can master it, because your income is dependent on you and you can do it anywhere, anytime. And that's important, guys. So let me know anything that I can do for you guys. I appreciate you guys. Some of you guys are coming in from the Europes. Man, that's really hot. You guys all have my phone number. You got my email. Use it or lose it, as they say. Well, that's what they say about other stuff. But that phone number, use it or lose it. Guys, it's been real. It's been fun. It's been fast. But I must go. Adios, muchachos. Well, I'm going to play on my computer for a little bit. Love you guys.